Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. I'm your host, Nate Weitzer, filling in for my buddy Josh Lander for the week, and filling in for me in the guest role is Mo Nuwara. You know him from thelines.com, Beat the Closing Number, etc., our betting savant. And we are coming off a nice 2-0 night on the player props. Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Johnson crushed. And we will try to keep it going here. Like and subscribe. We will be bringing you these videos each and every weekday through the regular season and postseason. And Josh will be back next week from his little post-All-Star break vacation if you're missing him. I'm not. I'm fine without him. But we are moving on. Anthony Davis is the first pick for me here. 25 points, and that's even money. I'll take 25 points in the win for the Lakers at a quarter unit for plus 260. I think I mentioned in the best bets why I like the Lakers a little bit here. 2 days rest, but the numbers for Anthony Davis jump off the page when you talk about 2 days rest this season. 30 points per game, 30% usage in an 8-game sample versus a normal 1 day rest situation. 24.5, 26% usage. Clippers, they are a smaller team for sure. They are missing Paul George, which is going to have a bit of a domino effect on their defense. His last three ADs scored 25 a game on just 22% usage against this Clippers team. And I think the usage should be up given the knowledge that the Clips are just struggling to guard down low. They were just kind of murdered by the Kings in the paint in their last loss. AD has shot 60% and played 41 minutes in those three against the Clips. So obviously they're taking this very seriously, the Lakers, when they get to play this cross-town matchup. And his last 8 overall, he's gone over in 5 of 8. Nice 28.5% usage rate in those games. For what it's worth, no Christian Wood or Jared Vanderbilt to steal any of his minutes. And this is the front end of a back-to-back, but Washington is the matchup for the Lakers tomorrow, so I don't think they're concerned about playing AD too many minutes here on the front end.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't really think this Clippers interior defense is going to have much for Anthony Davis. I mean, Zubac is fine. Like, I don't think anybody's worried about Zubac. And then they don't have really much size outside of that. I mean, anytime Zubac isn't on the floor, I mean, if they don't match minutes, I think it could be really rough there. And overall, I think that is where the Lakers will look to attack the Clippers. They are below par in terms of efficiency allowed at the rim and in the paint as well. So it is a pretty good matchup for Davis, I would agree.
Yep, and bring us to your first pick here on a 6-game slate.
I got a couple rebounding props today. One of them is Luka Doncic over 8.5. Like I said, I am a little bit concerned about how many minutes he played. 41, I think it was, in the first half of this back-to-back. But at the same time, like you said, they're in a spot where basically every marginal win could be massive because of how tight it is in terms of like 4 to 8 seed is separated by a couple games. So every win is massive for the Mavs. I think if Luka can go, he's going to go. So he is averaging 8.5-ish boards on the season. So this is right at his line. You can get plus on the over, but the big thing for me here is just not having Jakob Poeltl for Toronto. He is quite helpful for their rebounding, and also they have nobody behind him, basically. Like, since Precious Achiuwa is gone, I mean, Toronto basically doesn't have any other centers. Like, Kelly Olynyk is the closest thing, I guess, if you consider him a center. I don't know. He's kind of on the border of a 4-5, right? But regardless, he's not out there for his rebounding, So I don't know who else is getting a board on either team, to be honest. I look across the lineups, and it's just like, unless Derek Lively plays a ton of minutes, which he really hasn't been, he's been more like a 25-minute-a-game guy, which is, given how much time he's missed, I'm like, It's sad for my fantasy team that he can't play more, but I'm also like, I get it since he's missed like 30% of the team's games. So Toronto, below average rebounding team in general. I think 20th in rebound rate, and that's, with Pirtle, obviously. So I think we can probably expect this to be a bottom tier rebounding team. It looks like a bottom tier rebounding team on paper. So yeah, I mean, Luka just gets one extra rebound here, I think is reasonable, and getting plus money on the over. So it's not like you're paying for it.
Yeah, he's been rebounding a lot. I mean, yeah, I see at least 8 rebounds in some like 12 of his last 13 here. And it's interesting on back to backs. His scoring, his usage dips a little bit, but his peripheral stats both go up. And we look at the last two 10 and 17 versus the Kings, triple double, 18 and 9 against the Nets. So maybe you want rebounds and assists here. You only tack on the 9 assists and go 17 and a half. Maybe you want a triple double bet at plus 420 for Luka. Can I interest in you in some 420, Mo? And my second bet here, I'm going to go back to the well with the Jarrett Allen under on a back to back. I haven't seen a guy with like a bigger drop off on back to backs in terms of what the Cavs are doing. Like only 28 and a half minutes per game for him in 7 back to backs this season. Like you said, Dallas and Cleveland played a barn burner last night. Lots of guys played a lot of minutes. And in fact, this is the 5th game in 6 days for Cleveland out of the break. Allen's already played 140 minutes out of the All-Star break. So for him to go under 29.5 PRA is the safest. You can go 27.5 points rebounds if you want better juice here. But I mean, he's just not really an assist threat, I think, in this situation. Because, they have Mobley and Garland back. They have other guys. He did have a random 7 assist game against the Bulls in his last 3 against them. That was with no Mobley, Garland, and Donovan Mitchell. So he was strangely the hub of the offense. Still, in his last 3 against the Bulls, he's averaging 14 points, 13 rebounds. But if you look at his back-to-back numbers, because of that minutes drop, only 14 and a half points, only 7 rebounds per game this season. The Bulls, Nikola Vucevic is not an individual defender to fear, but scheme-wise, they just do such a good job funneling shots away from the rim, allow the most 3-point attempts in the league, allow the 3rd fewest field goal attempts overall, allow the fewest paint points. So it's just like you're not going to get it going down low. They're allowing the fewest offensive rebounds per game by a mile in February and like top 10 on the season in terms of opponents' rebounds. They don't play very fast. They don't give you many rebounding opportunities. So I don't see Allen having a huge double-double here or even playing north of 30 minutes in this situation.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Chicago, not a very imposing team, like you said, but at the same time, the Cavs are a tough team to handicap at overall this year because they've had so many different lineups, so many different injuries, and Allen really seems to benefit the most when Mobley is out, for sure. Like his numbers get pumped up quite a bit in those spots. He's just a machine, racking up stats when he's the primary and only big, and then they kind of marry his minutes to Donovan Mitchell's, right? But yeah, with the Bulls allowing so many threes, you have a Cavs team that is definitely happy to shoot a lot of threes, I think. So unless Allen vacuums up, 15 boards or whatever, I do like this play, I think.
Yep, and one more rebounding prop from you, I believe, making Josh proud with the rebounding numbers.
Yeah, I went with Russell Westbrook over 4.5. So the past game where they didn't have Paul George, the Clips just gave a ton of minutes to Norm Powell. He played 37 minutes. It didn't go very well. The starters got killed versus the Kings. I think everyone was like minus 15. Russ had a terrible game himself. He only played 18 minutes, which is kind of crazy to say in a game without Paul George. He literally played below his season average by 5 minutes, which is not a little bit. So I think he's going to play more minutes in this one. So I think his markets might be a little bit depressed by that game. And just, I don't think it's factoring in that he's going to have more minutes and more usage, basically, because he didn't, right? But I don't think that's going to be a trend. I think it's probably just because he was playing so bad and Lou was just like, whatever, I'm not going to, force it with Russ when he's playing like this. And you have a Lakers team that doesn't really rebound the ball that well. They're surprisingly, I mean, I know that's been a strength for this team in the past, but tied for 23rd in rebound rate. Also playing up in pace for Russ in this spot. The Lakers are, I think, top 5 in pace. Clippers are not. And then, classic revenge factor. So we could see a better Russ game here. And I think we're going to see more Russ minutes for sure. I'd be surprised if we didn't. So you can get plus on over 4.5. And I like this one too.
Yeah, I like the revenge spot. I mean, he goes for 16-6 in just 18 minutes his last time against the Clips. And if he is suddenly thrust into a main rotation role because George is out, yeah, you can definitely expect those numbers to go up. So like the look here. Like the picks here overall. We got best bets up in a separate video. We got player props for you. Keep coming back each and every weekday. We'll be bringing you these bets. And until we see you next, happy betting.